Hello, everybody, and welcome to the NGS Season 6 caster meeting. I am Jason, the new head caster for NGS here for Season 6, and I'm going to be taking you through this meeting. We've also got a bunch of casters joining us in the Caster Lobby 3. Any casters out there that'd like to come in and enjoy this meeting with us, you're more than welcome. We'll be discussing all kinds of stuff today. We've already got the agenda up here. So the way I'm going to run this is I'm going to quickly go over all of the stuff that we're going to talk about here at the beginning, and then we'll go after it bullet point by bullet point. First, we're going to have Ace give us the lowdown on the caster resource folder for the season and the status with that. We're going to go over the new caster stats system, including the caster report form that we're going to be doing throughout the season. I'm going to talk about the caster titles and what everybody needs to rank up with those throughout the season. We're going to be talking about the new YouTube upload system, what we've already done with that, and what we're going to do with that moving forward. Reserving games, we're going to be asking players to change a little bit about how they do that and be talking about all of the stuff involving that. We've got updates to the stream delays, and we'll be talking about the game of the week. The casters no longer being referees is something we'll discuss. We are still looking for a lead broadcaster, so we'll be seeing if anybody's got any interest in that and going over that job title and everything. And then we got just kind of a suggestion corner, just a bunch of things that we're hoping to suggest to the casters to do throughout the season. None of this stuff required, but stuff people may be interested in. And then at the end, we'll have an open forum for just some general questions and anything else anybody wants to talk about. So let's go ahead and get this started with our Ace man himself, and he's going to give us the lowdown on the caster resource folder.
Hey, what up? So for the last 5 seasons now, I've provided caster resources for everybody to use, and I've got more caster resources this season. So I took a lot of the feedback from the last handful of seasons. Number one is that it needs to be easy to set up. Number two, it's just got to be flat out accessible to people. And 3, it just has to look really nice, and add a couple of extra things that have developed more in an amateur sense lately. So with that, I'm not entirely done yet. Gonna throw that out there, but I need some people to do some testing with me right now, or rather, whenever possible. After this meeting, if you can download the NGS Season 6 cast resource. Actually, I'm going to make sure that says beta on it so that people do not get confused. I need a couple people to test this, so I put it in the casters channel once it finishes uploading. This has all of the new things for Season 6, including an automatic installer, so you don't have to set up the scene manually, which is one of the biggest changes we've made. An updated overlay controller that allows that I've nearly doubled the amount of boxes on, where you can put more information and keep it usable. And I think you'll like the logos section as well, where you can now import logos and have them auto-scaled, so they never have to be changed in the OBS itself. It'll always scale it to a certain size. So that should be pretty nice. Let me get that in the casters channel. There we go. So
Weenus, can we get a chicken for that?
Well, Weenus is driving right now, I think. I think it'd be dangerous for him to try and find his rubber chicken.
Yeah.
My apologies. I have no chickens with me besides myself.
I want to give thanks to Murda and Jason for helping test this and give suggestions for it. Murda, I know you've done a couple casts with it now, and I fixed your spacebar issue, so I think you'll appreciate that. So lots of new tools in there. We've got everything you need to start casting immediately. I will put out a full version. If you do not want to do the beta stuff, don't worry about it. Things may break right now because I haven't tested it widely with a bunch of people. I've been kind of testing by myself and with Jason and Murda just to make sure that everything functions on our end, and then we'll see what happens afterwards. So that's how that's going to go. I've been informed as of like 10 minutes ago that Wraithling will not be able to get me all the logo files. So I will attempt to find, once we get all the teams signed up and everything, I think I'll be able to get you the team logos in the next, when I release this for real, within the next week. So hopefully it should take like 5 minutes to set up, and it's really nice and easy to work. If you're having issues, send a message to myself or Jason. There's a couple issues with OBS that we might have to resolve, or might not work out, and we might have to set up manually. I'm not entirely sure yet. I will go ahead and toss in the casters channel the 3 main scenes that we'll have. So we have the in-game scene, which again looks pretty much exactly like we've had before. We've changed the map thing. The centerpiece used to be used for maps. We found that was being used inconsistently and doesn't provide a whole lot of information. So we're just going to make it very clear what division we're running. You can put whatever text in there that you want. We'll leave it as division for now. Second, we're going to redo the draft overlays. So it will include the team names and their logos in the draft screen now. And all of these can be modified, but I have them locked by default to start, just so it's easy for you guys to add stuff on top of it. Feel free to pepper up all the scenes with your own logos, your own branding, whatever, as long as the NGS is represented there. And then finally, and I think this is what I'm most excited about and most prone to breaking, so help me out. We have a between game scene that provides you a map tracker. It'll track map bans, map picks, who wins the map, and some boxes for you to put some team information. So you've got your team name, your score, and you can put things like division, record, number of points, place. You've got your logo for them again, which will all be auto-populated when you use the overlay controller. And all of it should make for a very cool way to make your streams nice looking at a really, really easy setup point. You just run a couple programs that I've created, and it should work. If it doesn't, again, let me know. So I think that's about it, but go ahead, try it out, and I'll release a full version probably this weekend. And if it's anything like what I was doing last night, it'll be about Sunday at 3 a.m. So look for it on Monday.
All right. Well, like any bullet point on this agenda, I'd like to open it up to everybody else if anybody's got any questions, particularly for Ace while we got him here. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, Ace, thank you for changing the length of the names in the draft screen so that the names will fit in them.
That bothered me a lot. So I went ahead and decided to integrate the logos. The logos will be paired next to each other, and then we just went back to the same thing that we had in the in-game. It seems to work out, and I kind of like it. By the way, if you do graphics and design, I'm a wonderful man of paint.net, which means I can make gradients, solid colors, and polygons and shapes, and that's about it. So that's I'm not the most graphically inclined, but I can make some programs and I can make some wizardry happen every once in a while. So if you're feeling interested in creating graphics or doing whatever to make it look good, have some suggestions, swing them by me. I really enjoy making these. As much of a pain as it was last night because some programming wasn't working, I really do enjoy making these because it's always a fun thing to make different ways to convey information.
Okay, so we have a question from the chat. Will this work with Streamlabs on OBS?
I have absolutely no idea. If it can import scenes and it takes them the same way, then yes. Otherwise, probably not. I might get Streamlabs OBS and try and set it up, but I'm not going to do that immediately. So it'll be a little bit if it does, but it works currently with OBS minimum version 21, and I've got it running on OBS 23 release candidate 1. So I know it works with those. Streamlabs OBS again, I'll see, because I don't use it. But if the data's kept all the same, then there should be no reason, and someone with Streamlabs OBS can test it for me.
Yeah, and it's worth noting for all of this, I'm going to be releasing a how-to video sometime within the next week, and it's going to detail how to go about downloading the resource folder and importing it into your OBS. Ace has showed me how to do that, and so I'm going to be putting that into the VOD, along with most of the stuff in here that you would actually need a guide to figure out if you haven't done it before. So that'll be coming up in the next week. I'll be having kind of a mega thread, which we'll talk about later, but that's going to be a big part of it, is how to set up your OBS. And then we'll, if there's a huge, if there's a large group of people that want to use a secondary streaming service that's not OBS, we'll look into trying to create additional guides for those. But if it's just 1 or 2 people, we'll probably just look to try to help those people on a case-by-case basis rather than doing a larger kind of thing.
That's a good point, Wono. Yeah, if there are any kind of map spoilers, please keep those to yourselves and wait until the full release, until everybody knows and it's been announced that the maps that we are going to be playing in season 6.
I may or may not have put that in the VOD. Well,
yeah, well, it's fine. It's,
if people are paying attention to all this extra stuff, maybe they get a little information early.
Yeah,
all right, so we're gonna go ahead and move on.
Build the hype.
Thank you very much, Ace, for all your hard work on this resource folder. I'm really excited to get to use it and all the upgrades, and just the amount of work you put in is tremendous, man. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
All right, so next up is the caster stats system. This is something I wanted to incorporate this season that's going to kind of replace the VODs channel that we used to use for posting matches and for trying to track the stats, so it'll be a little more comprehensive on our side. Of course, we're going to try and use the stats system to kind of track who does the most in terms of casting for when we get to the end of the season, and we're trying to give out the reward system. Like the caster awards, and who's going to be able to cast in finals matches and who's going to have priority maybe for playoffs, depending on the size. But mostly it's going to be used for the caster titles, which is kind of ties it into the next point. But we're also going to have a caster report form. I've already made the form, but I'm going to go ahead and wait to see what our division layout is before I release it. You guys will definitely have that before the season starts. And it should be pretty easy. It's just like a little questionnaire on a Google Doc form. It's like 4 questions. You fill it out in probably like a minute or less. And then that report will allow me to know where your YouTube upload VOD is, and add it to the appropriate playlist, and be able to keep a really easy track of the casting stats overall. Any questions, concerns, suggestions, anything about the stats system? Okay, nice and easy. So for the caster titles, we're going to keep those pretty much the same as we've been announcing throughout the beginning of the preseason here. It's going to be, if you have 0 to 5 casts, you're going to be in the caster hopefuls. 5 to 10 casts, we're going to have you as a caster. And then if you have 10 or more casts, you're going to receive an invitation to become a veteran caster. Now, of course, everybody that's already got the veteran caster title has been grandfathered into the system as a veteran caster. And then anybody who gets to that 10 cast point will now receive that invitation. So if you don't want to be a veteran caster, you don't have to. You can obviously just not accept that invitation to the program. But that's totally up to you whether or not you want to do that. And then, of course, we have the records of all the Season 5 casts So those will be added to your stats moving forward. So if you have 9 casts from last season, you only need 1 more to become a veteran caster. Any question about the caster title system? Let's see. Will casters be vetted at all for quality? Yes, they definitely will. There's going to be kind of a quality check when we go to upload the videos to YouTube. At least within the first few casts that each caster does. I'm probably not going to have time to watch every single cast that comes through, but if it's a new caster, I'll want to watch to make sure there's no inappropriate content, to make sure that the casts are, of quality, and also to be able to give pointers to any casters that might just be new and just might need a little bit of help setting up, whatever they need to set up to make things a little bit nicer. Looks like we got, how does the co-caster tag fit into this? Yeah, I haven't decided on what we're going to do with co-casters yet. I do think that it should count. I think that, in terms of the casting, because you're still doing most of the work that the regular caster's doing, just not the broadcasting portion of it. But yeah, we'll have to decide, Born, exactly what we want to do with co-casters, if we want that to get all the way to veteran caster off of that. There's a section on the caster report form that you fill out that, for like additional casters or co-casters or observers. So we'll be able to track that too through the caster stat system. I just haven't fully decided what we want to do with it yet, but we will. We'll as soon as I make it a final decision on that one, we'll release that info. Any other questions? Okay, so next up is the YouTube uploading. So one of the biggest changes I think this season is going to be that we're going to upload all of our videos to YouTube. I'm going to ask all of the casters to do that. It's a pretty simple system to set up, and that's going to be a part of the how-to videos, how to set up connecting your Twitch account to your YouTube account, how to highlight or just upload the cast to YouTube, and then that's going to be a part of the report that you send in where the VOD is. If you guys haven't checked out the YouTube channel, we've kind of already started backlogging and sorting a lot of the old matches from season 5 and back. We're also going to be adding a new thing that we do on YouTube for the grand champions for each division, where we're going to be making a playlist for their entire season's body of work, so that you can, if people want to, they can kind of go back and watch match by match through an entire season on their journey to becoming a grand champion. And with this system, it'll be a lot easier to do it for season 6 and forward, because the matches are already going to be organized on YouTube. It's also going to be a lot easier for people to find the VODs that they're looking for, rather than having to scroll through a very, very long list of casts in the VODs channel. Everything is going to be organized by division, by season on the YouTube channel in those playlists. One of the coolest parts of this is that it's going to be actually linked to the casters YouTube video channel, and it's not going to be just on NGS. So they'll find the playlists on the Nexus Gaming Series YouTube channel, but once they choose that video, it's actually going to take them to the casters VOD channel. So that's where, they'll be able to see their subscribe button, all of their info, their description, and so it'll be more traffic going to both. Any questions, concerns, feedback, anything about the YouTube uploads? Okay. So next up is going to be reserving games. We've changed a little bit of this from what we were doing before. We're no longer going to be putting any kind of limit on when casters can reserve games. We were thinking about doing something for like 1, 2, 3 weeks, but ultimately the feedback I got, I agree with, that it's really not going to affect that much because teams just don't schedule their games out that far ahead. So we're just going to put the kibosh on that whole system. Instead, the main way we're going to look to try and give some rewards to the veteran casters, actually kind of ties into the YouTube uploads, is we're going to have a column on the right-hand part of the front page for the YouTube channel that has all of the veteran casters on it, listed from the top from who has the most casts. And it's kind of neat because it comes with a subscribe button on there. So it'll be a nice little bonus for the people that are casting the most matches. But one thing we do want to ask in terms of reserving games is we want to ask people to try and be careful to only reserve a game when you know you're going to be available for it. We had some problems the last couple of seasons, and some of the feedback we got that was that teams were a little bit disappointed that we were having casters sign up for matches, and then they ended up dropping the matches later. And, you know, if it's something that you do fairly quickly, like if you pick one up and then a few minutes later realize you're busy and drop it, like that's not a big deal. But if you reserve a game a week or more beforehand and then you only realize hours before that you can't do it and you end up dropping a game, you're pretty much guaranteeing that that game will not get casted. Because once you sign up for a cast, other casters can't sign up for it, and then it's just kind of a big disappointment for the teams themselves. So we're going to ask casters to just try and be careful, try and be thoughtful about that. And we're actually going to add one rule specifically where if you are scheduled to cast a match, we want you to not drop the match within 48 hours to cast another match at the same time. Because, you know, like if you have to drop it and you have to sign up for a different time, we understand that. But if you drop a match and you pick up another one at the same time, you're still available to cast that first match. And so you should stick to that first match so you're not, letting the teams down that you were supposed to cast in the first place, again, by kind of guaranteeing they're not going to get a cast a match. So we're going to ask the casters to not do that within 48 hours if it's at the same time. Any questions, any comments or feedback, anything about the reserving games? Okay. And nothing in the chat either. So next up is the game of the week.
One thing.
Yes, Weenus? No, we lost Weenus. He's probably in the mountains. He's a robot. Ghost Dunk is on it. All right, well, until we get Weenus back, we'll go ahead and move on for the moment. We're going to be putting together the Game of the Week teams over the next couple weeks. I think, you know, most of us probably already know the spiel about that, but we're going to be looking at Thursday nights at 7 o'clock to start for the Game of the Week. We're going to be looking to put together a team of analysts, a main broadcaster, and 2 casters to come every week, Thursday night at 7. Kind of do almost like a Monday Night Football kind of broadcast, but it's just going to be the Game of the Week for NGS. And we're going to do it Thursday nights at 7. So if you guys are available for that, if you're interested in being part of that team, you can message myself or Weenus, and we will see if we can't put an awesome team together to do that. If it works out in the first couple of weeks of the season, we'll look to add additional Game of the Week nights with additional teams. So don't be too worried if you can't be there Thursday. We may add that again later for additional times, but we're going to see if this model works and if we like how it runs. And if not, we'll try something else. Any comments or feedback about Game of the Week? All right. So next up is sort of a little change, but I think will definitely affect most of the casters. We're going to change a little bit of the wording in the bylaws about the casters being responsible for upholding the rules when it comes to the matches. We think that for the most part, that responsibility should fall on the captains, not on the refs. Overall, not all of the matches are going to be casted. So the captains do need to be prepared to know all the rules, to be ready to come and, know how, come to these matches and know how they're going to put together the lobby and run the match in general. Plus, we also have a lot of moderators in NGS. So if we do have trouble, they can certainly be an available resource to be able to help them get the match going or solve any issues that are there. Yeah, things like band skins, tracking pause timers, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of fallen on the casters to do that stuff, and really I think the casters have enough to worry about. So we're just going to make it so that the expected responsibility for that is on the captains, not on the casters. Now, I'm okay with the casters being a resource. It's not like I'm not okay with people asking a caster about this stuff. And if a caster knows about these things, it's experienced caster, they know the rules, I'm perfectly fine with them providing that information and helping out. But I just don't want them to feel like they have to do it, especially in the case of newer casters who might not be comfortable with it or just don't know the rules yet. I don't want that to be a gate of entry for casters, so that's what we're gonna. That's how we're gonna handle that moving forward. Any questions about the casters and the refs? All right. So last big bullet point. The lead broadcaster is still a position we're looking to fill. If anybody's interested in broadcasting and working with OBS, an experienced OBS person, we'd really like to find somebody to do that. So if anybody is interested in that, wants more information about the position, feel free to contact myself or Renus, and we'll give you the info and see if you're a good fit for that spot. And that's pretty much it for that one. And then for all the suggestion corner stuff, this is all basically just stuff that we're suggesting to the casters. We think it would be good for you guys to do it, but it's not necessarily required. If you're an experienced caster, if you're a veteran caster, consider picking up newer casters as co-casters. It can be a really good experience for them. It can really help them grow and learn a lot. I think that's kind of something that we want to tie in with the idea of being a veteran caster, is, being a good role model for the other casters and passing on that information. So consider doing that. We'd like you guys to include information about the Patreon in your casts if you can. If you don't do it, that's certainly okay. But if you guys do get the opportunity to just tell people that we have a Patreon and give them the opportunity and the knowledge they need to be able to support NGS, that'd be really helpful. Please host your fellow NGS casters when you're finished with a cast, if anybody's live. We're going to have a nice, convenient scheduler on the NGS website that you guys can look to see if anybody else is casting a match at the time when your cast is over. So it's really nice to keep it within the NGS family and pass those viewers on to the next person so that they can continue watching more of the NGS action. If anybody's interested on guest starring on Nexus Edge, feel free to let myself or Arthani know. We'd really like to see more people getting involved in that show, and especially the casters, because you guys see more of the action than anybody else. Let's see. Could we get a list of all videos for the new casters? Yeah, there's going to be a guide video, Sky Bunny. We're going to have a guide video for how to upload the caster resource folder into your OBS when when that's finished. So that'll be done probably within the week, but we're gonna have it with well before the start of the season for you guys, so you guys can use that. So by the way, for caster feedback, I just wanted to mention that we kind of touched on it earlier when we were talking about caster titles and all that. I will be watching some of the casts and giving feedback, especially to newer casters who might be able to use some of those tips. I have done that in the past with some of the other casters, and I feel like most of that's been pretty well received. So I feel like that's something I should probably be doing as the lead caster, but I'm not the only one that can do that as head caster. If you guys see something that you maybe feel like you can help a caster with some of that constructive criticism, feel free to just shoot a message out and say, hey, saw your cast. If you want some tips, let me know. And you guys can certainly try and help out some of the newer casters. And then finally, I wanted to talk about the caster mega thread. I'll be putting that out later this week. It's going to have all the links you need to know. It'll be pinned in the caster channel. So feel free to go back and check on that post, because it'll have most of the information you need, links, videos, all that good stuff. And that's pretty much it. Other than the open forum questions, if anybody has any problems they experienced last season, or if there's anything you guys think that we can do to make your casting more successful, feel free to let me know. Anybody have any questions or any problems? Okay, so question from the chat. Ban skins in the peer review of the rules committee. Oh. Okay, yeah, so that was a question for ban skins. Yeah, we used to do that based on what HGC was doing, but now without HGC to look at as a resource, we'll just be going to the rules committee for that, which I think is definitely the best way to do it. All right. Well, if anybody has any questions or any concerns, you guys can always feel free to DM myself or Weenus or any of the veteran casters for information. Pretty much everybody in the system is very, very helpful and available all the time to help people out. I've never encountered anybody since taking the NGS headcaster title that hasn't been just incredibly helpful. So don't feel like this is your only chance to ask questions or ask for help. We will have this VOD up on YouTube within the hour. So if anybody comes with questions that didn't get to see the meeting, you guys can feel free to just direct them to the VOD. And thanks for letting me talk at you guys for about half an hour. I appreciate the time and hope that this is going to be a really good season for all the casters.
Thanks for putting in all the time, Jason. Hopefully I'm not roboting right now. Just want to say I'm super excited to have all you guys with us for season 6. It's going to be a great season. We're going to do a lot of fun things, and teams are going to be super stoked to have casters like you guys. So if you have any problems or you're feeling overwhelmed, just send me a DM and we can work through it.
Yeah, you make a great point, Weenus. I think that's pretty much one of the things that makes NGS different from most other amateur leagues, is that we've just got the best casting core and have for as long as I've been around in NGS. So you guys really make a huge difference. I think that being able to put on display all the fun that people are having in NGS is really good for the community at large, to help get people interested in joining the community and joining the league. But also, you guys make these players feel like pros. That's what being a caster is all about. They love seeing themselves up on the big screen, being able to watch the casts afterward, and feeling like somebody's watching when they make a good play. And so I look forward to helping you guys along with that, and anything I can do, I'm here to help. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call this adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for coming out. And is it too cheesy for me to say we'll see you in the Nexus?
Do it.
We'll see you in the Nexus.